Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, David here, and welcome back to another Atlas News episode. This one is very interesting / exciting, but a little bit confusing at the same time. If you have not seen my last video, I made a video going over what's going to happen for the rest of 2025 with Atlas. So we got RAIDOU Remastered, we got Persona 5 The Phantom X, all in June, and we don't know what's coming up, what's next, you know? Very early to talk about what's next, but my bet ended up being we're probably going to see a port of a missing Atlas game that skipped Nintendo on Switch 2. A Persona 3 Reload Complete Edition on Switch 2 or a Metaphor Complete Edition on Switch 2. Persona 6, where does that leave Persona 6? I mean, Persona 6, I definitely talked about that in my video. If you guys know me, I've been in the camp of people expecting Persona 6 earlier than later. At this point, this has been the largest gap between mainline numbered Persona releases. They're doing their boards, their remasters of like P3, P4, P5. They're doing the remakes of these games with P3, now P4 with Persona 4 Revival. And hey, who knows? They might even remake Persona 5 at some point. But right now, this is where we're at. So where does that leave Persona 6? The largest gap between mainline Persona releases. And that, whenever I say this, it gets me confused for one main reason. They kept saying that the reason why it took so long from Persona 4 to Persona 5 is because Persona 5 was an HD game and Atlus was not used to HD development. They did Studio Zero, they tried it with Catherine on PlayStation 3 and 360, but when it comes to large 100+ hours RPGs, completely new. They did it with Persona 5, took him almost 10 years. Well, it's been almost 10 years since Persona 5 at this point. So we are very hungry for Persona 6. And I have something that I added to my daily routine, which is look up the Persona 6 website domain. Atlus registered a website domain for Persona 6 as soon as Persona 5 dropped. So in 2016, Atlus registered the website domain for persona6.jp, which would be the Japanese website domain of obviously a Persona 6. And it gets updated from time to time, and I'm here to report that it was just updated once again. What does it mean that a website gets updated? I'm happy to be early with this news. I've not seen anyone talk about it online, and I'm excited that this is the case because I want to protect you guys' expectations. The fact that it was updated probably, or possibly, I should definitely say possibly, means that something's gonna happen soon. It could be a teaser, it could be them doing something behind the scenes with the website that we're not even going to see. Something is going on, which is why they updated the site. Explicitly, what could it mean? First option, nothing. It's definitely possible that nothing happens because the last time that the site was updated before July 1st of 2025 was June of last year, and we have not seen anything about Persona 6. So they're working on it. They're making sure that the domain is still to them. It still belongs to Atlus, and that's it. So that's a definite possibility. That being said, I said something in my video. Check it out. I'm going to link it in the video description. But when I was speculating about what's going to happen for the rest of the year, when I was talking about Persona 6, I speculated that there is a good chance that we see Persona 6 this year. Not released, but revealed. I think it's very possible. Hear me out. The Persona 30th anniversary is going to start in September of next year. So I think a great game to start off the anniversary for release would be a Persona 6. We know that Persona 4 Revival is not going to be ready for the beginning of P30th in September of next year. It's going to release after that. We've seen that officially said by Sega in their latest investors report. Once again, link in the video description if you want to check that out. I covered the news. So because Revival is so late, I expect Persona 6 beforehand. Reveal it this year. Tokyo Game Show in September, the Game Awards in December. If you want even more eyes on a reveal, that makes a lot of sense. So the website goes up, we have a lot of details, blah, 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 and then they market it because they're getting ready to release it September, October, November, a month or two after the beginning of Persona 30th. At this point, this is where I'm at with Persona 6, and the fact that the persona6.jp website was just updated again leads me to believe that it makes a lot of sense. So yes, for 2025, it would mean that the yearly Persona game is Persona 5 The Phantom X, the game that was developed in collaboration with another studio, not just in-house by Atlus. I think they're working hard with Persona 6. We have heard a lot of different rumors, which I'm careful when I report about these things because they're kind of like, sources are But a lot of people have been talking that Persona 6 is going to do something very different to prior releases, which that alone, very exciting to me. They're potentially going to go the dual protagonist route, and that could be a little bit scary to me. But apparently there's going to be 2 protagonists in Persona 6, and I want to say it's a little bit scary to me, but a game that I consider a 10 out of 10, a game that is, depending on which day you ask me, it is potentially my favorite game of all time, is a Sega title with 2 protagonists, with Yakuza 0, with Kiryu Kazuma and Goro Majima as the 2 protagonists of that game. So clearly it can work if you do it properly, and we've seen that at Sega themselves with the GOATS RGG Studio, which I definitely think that the folks at P Studio for Persona and Atlus, they're definitely able to make it work. So a calendar system, social links with 2 protagonists could be crazy. It could go hard, but they have to do it the right way. And all these years of us waiting, I think they're cooking something special. The one thing that needs to be mentioned is expectations are building. As long as it takes, people are, whenever I talk about Persona 6, there's always 2 types of people. There are people like me who are like, hey, let's go, I'm expecting stuff. Love y'all, by the way. And there's the other profile of person saying, chill, let them cook. I understand, but it's been almost 10 years, so at one point you kind of have to worry about what's going on here. It's not normal. And P Studio has been increasing its staff. They keep hiring too. So at some point you're like, what the hell's going on? And they have different teams for the remakes and stuff. They obviously, people at P Studio are working on games like Persona 3 Reload and stuff, that is for sure. But they have people that have been working on P6 ever since Royal dropped in 2019, minimum. So yeah, it's a big confusing mess. The website domain updating on July. Once again, it's part of my routine now. I update the site almost every day, or at least once per week, to see if the website is updated or not. And here we are, it just updated again. Once something else happens, I'm going to cover that. My goal here with the channel is to be the #1 place for Atlus news coverage. So if you're into that kind of stuff, just make sure you consider subscribing, ring that little notification bell. If you want to support me, a thumbs up is all I'm asking of y'all. It helps people find the channel. So thank you all so much for watching. Exciting stuff when it comes to Persona 6. Maybe we see something very soon. I don't really think so. I think my bet is definitely on the rest of the year for a Persona 6 reveal. I think that would be really awesome. Even early next year could be possible, but I'm definitely looking at late this year. I think it makes a lot of sense. What do you guys think? When do you expect an official reveal for Persona 6? Have a great day, y'all. Thanks for watching. Bye.